Hello, YouTube. This is Al coming to you once again for Kindred Souls of Brooklyn, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in tonight to this very special episode. I thought it would be fun to look back on how Brooklyn looked back in Saturday Night Fever days back in 1977. So I went around, I took some snapshots on my own, and the rest I took from the internet, and I thought it'd be fun to take a look at what Brooklyn looked like, what the film locations looked like of Saturday Night Fever back in 1977, and what they look like today, and do a little description of them. And also, I thought it'd be fun too to give you some addresses of if you ever come to Brooklyn. It'd be easy for you to look these places up and go there. The great thing about Saturday Night Fever was that it was filmed largely on location. I don't think any of it was filmed on sound stages or anything like that. So it was filmed at all physical locations, and fantastic movie. And like I said in my other video, I think it was Brooklyn's most iconic movie because folks all started to dress like that. I know me being in high school back in 1980, my friends and I all started dressing in leather jackets like Tony Manero, and we started putting our gold chains out with our crucifixes and wearing all kinds of members-only jackets and all kinds of matching clothes, putting two pieces of pizza together. So a lot of good memories, and that's why I think Saturday Night Fever, celebrating its 40th anniversary, is Brooklyn's most iconic movie. So with no further ado, here we go. Let me talk about some of these slides. Alrighty, and let's start off with the very next one. This is actually 2001, the discotheque. It was later called Spectrum, and that's what it looked like back in 1977. This is the Verrazano Bridge, which hasn't changed, but right down there is where Tony Manero sat with Stephanie. This is the house that was filmed. It was John Travolta's house in the movie. And I'll give you addresses toward the end. This way you guys can go over and take a look. This is what Bay Ridge would look like today, where Tony walked around with Stephanie. The White Castle, where Tony went with his friends, where they were jumping on the tables and putting the hamburgers in their mouth, that was on... I'll give you the address for that as well, but that later became a Pizzeria Uno. It's a Pizzeria Uno today. The B train is the train that Tony gets off when the movie starts, when he does his iconic walk. Right there is Fusco's hardware store. That's where Tony worked. That's what it looked like in 1977. That's a picture of Grand Union. That was a diner that Tony and Stephanie ate at. That's Bay Ridge Home Center today, what Fusco's is today. Pearson Home Center. There's Tony outside Lenny's Pizzeria, which is still there. And Kelly's Tavern is still there too. Still looks pretty much the same. They walk by that in the movie. And there I am at Lenny's Pizzeria, having lunch there with my wife that day. They got the phone number up there if you want to make an order. Great Brooklyn pizzeria. Rice balls, pizza slices, Italian ices. This is 2001, what it looks like today. It's an office building. That's there. So that's where Tony would dance right there. That was 2001. Later became Spectrum. The Staples store, if you remember the picture before, that was the Grand Union supermarket. It became Staples, so that's what it looks like today. Sorry the photos are out of order. It's haven't really gotten this slideshow thing correct yet. But that's Tony Manero's house right there. I looked on Zillow, and the house, it's not for sale, but if you wanted to buy his house, it's $1,700,000. That's how much it would go for. So, folks, I'm going to give you some addresses right now. And if you want to go to Lenny's Pizzeria, these are all in Brooklyn, of course. Lenny's Pizzeria is on 1969 86th Street. Pearson's Hardware Store is 7305 Fifth Avenue. Tony Manero's home, which I told you sells for $1,700,000, is on 221 79th Street. The Staples that you're looking at is on 92nd Street and 5th Avenue. Takes up the whole block pretty much. The 2001 Odyssey Club was on 802 64th Street if you want to take a drive over there. Phillips Dance Studio, which I have a picture of. There's not much left of it. It's all closed up. It's the photo with the graffiti. It's the black door with the graffiti. Phillips Dance Studio is on 1301 West 7th Street in Brooklyn. That's what it looks like today, 2001, 802. The White Castle, like I told you, when in its day was on 92nd Street and 4th Avenue as well, but that's gone. It became the Pizzeria Uno. And if you want to have a drink, I'm not a drinking guy, but I love my Coca-Cola. Kelly's Tavern that they walk by is on 9259 5th Avenue. Now, just to do a little more talking about these photographs, if you want to go where John Travolta sat on the bench in the Verrazano Bridge, that's a very beautiful place to sit. You can watch all the cruise ships going by and the freighters. It's right underneath the Verrazano Bridge. And if you remember from my other video, the bridge was very symbolic for Tony and his friends. It was their kind of their escape. They saw Staten Island as kind of like the better land, the promised land of where you'd go if you had a little more money and you wanted a bigger pool in your backyard and maybe a garage and stuff like that. There's Phillips right there, what's left of it. Just all boarded up right there. And graffitied over. Fusco's Hardware Store again. I love those fences back then. I had a store for a while, but we never had a fence like that. They call it the scissor fence. You used to pull it over, and it was bad because you could actually break the window with that, but you weren't able to get inside. So it's pretty interesting. The subway lines obviously are still there. In the beginning of the movie, it shows you the B train, but when Tony, at the end of the movie, gets disgusted with his friends and he wants to go see Stephanie, he gets on the R train. Now, back then, it was called the RR train, but today it's the R train, and that train runs along 4th Avenue in Brooklyn, and it goes into Manhattan. There's the corner again of 92nd and 5th Avenue, and once again, that's the Spectrum. That was 2001, Odyssey, and Staples right there. I actually go to that Staples quite a bit. It's one of our favorite places because we go there. We actually eat in Pizzeria Uno. I drive by the Verrazano Bridge every day. It seems like every job I have in Brooklyn is related to that bridge. Either I'm driving over it or I'm driving by it. But great place, Pizzeria Uno. Good place to go for lunch or dinner. A lot of fun. That's Bay Ridge today. It hasn't changed. As you can see, all of these places were relatively close to the Verrazano Bridge. That's why it was so iconic to the movie. There you could see that's where the Grand Union was and all that. And the subway station that he walks to is only about 5 or 6 blocks from that area of the Verrazano Bridge. So, folks, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I thought it would be really nice to look back on what Saturday Night Fever looked like back in 1977 and the film locations and some of what it looks like today. It's a great place to come visit. A lot of things to do in Brooklyn. Of course, Brooklyn is very close to Manhattan, only a 20 to 30-minute drive. And Brooklyn's got a lot of character, a lot of different neighborhoods. The area where Tony walked down is largely like an Asian community right now. So even though there's still a few things left, like the Lenny's Pizzeria, there's a Hallmark store up the block, it's largely become like Asian fish markets and restaurants. Really nice area as well. Brooklyn is ever-changing. Always new immigrants coming in and new situations, but Brooklyn remains to be a very interesting place. And as Jackie Gleason once said, the garden spot of America. Folks, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please leave me a comment. I'd really appreciate it. For now, this is Al signing off. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you real soon. And stay safe. Thank you very much, folks. Have a great, great evening. Take care now.